Taylor Swift. She is getting deposed. It is happening. I have it on very good authority that Taylor Swift is going to get subpoenaed.
Taylor Swift made it absolutely clear that if she is subpoenaed, then Blake Lively is finished.
Blake has taken advantage of her, taken advantage of her brand.
Taylor won't take the blame for Blake's chaotic lawsuit, and if hauled into court, she plans on bringing Blake down too with her. In Toro 3. Because if there's one thing Taylor won't tolerate, it's betrayal. Blake Lively is getting cooked. Taylor Swift has had enough of this nonsense, and honestly, can you blame her right now?
I am completely wrong because I have it on very good authority that Taylor Swift is going to get subpoenaed and she is going to be deposed.
Imagine being close to someone for more than 10 years, letting them shine in your spotlight, boosting their career, helping make their kids' names famous through your songs, only for them to turn around and pull you into their messy, humiliating lawsuit, like you're a chess piece in a revenge scheme. That's exactly what Blake Lively did to Taylor Swift, and now Taylor is finished playing nice.
Be clear, that has the potential to humiliate Taylor.
Because let's be honest, this friendship was always a one-way street. Blake Lively loved standing beside Taylor when it benefited her, appearing front and center at Taylor's exclusive parties and soaking up the press attention, while Taylor name-dropped Blake as her cool, artsy bestie and made sure everyone knew they were close.
And she is going to be deposed, and she is up first. They want her first. They have heard the public pleas, and essentially we're going to get it. We are finally going to get what we want.
And what did Blake do in return? She used Taylor as a PR shield to strengthen her legal case against Justinbaldoni, all while Taylor had no idea what was even going on.
I don't even think they're not friends anymore. She's the godmother to her children, but I think that Taylor Swift is publicly backing away from this friendship because she's intelligent.
Now here's where it gets truly unhinged. In December 2024, Blake was deep in her feud with Baldoni over It Ends With Us, tossing around allegations, filing lawsuits, and basically turning the whole situation into a public spectacle, but she didn't want to fight alone. No, she wanted backup, and who better than Taylor Swift? So what does she do? She literally texts Baldoni and calls Taylor her dragon. Like Taylor is some kind of attack dog she can unleash whenever she wants.
You don't know. That would be like the very first thing I would do. I would depose Taylor Swift against Blake Lively because first and foremost, no matter how you feel about Taylor Swift, you have to recognize and respect the fact that she is a machine, okay? She is an absolute machine. She will do everything to protect her image.
This is the exact message Blake sent Baldoni, saying, if you ever watch Game of Thrones, you'll understand. I'm Khaleesi, and like her, I happen to have a few dragons one day soon.
We're live. Taylor Swift is having bad blood with Blake Lively. I am not your dragon.
Excuse me. What, Blake? Did you really just refer to Taylor Swift as one of your dragons? Like, she's your personal weapon in some Hollywood power struggle? Because wow, the audacity of that is absolutely unreal.
Lively says in a text message that she too has her dragons, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
And let's not forget that Game of Thrones reference. Because if you actually watch the show, you know Daenerys went full psycho and burned down an entire city in the end. So Blake, what exactly were you implying here? That Taylor is your loyal beast, ready to torch Justinbaldoni's career on your behalf?
A little monster. Sometimes I have to release these little monsters on the world.
Taylor was understandably furious. TMZ sources confirmed she had no idea about any of this until she saw her name popping up in legal filings and news articles, because Blake, being the master manipulator she is, made sure the press started linking Taylor's name to the lawsuit, making it look like Taylor was actively supporting her.
Playing this part of I'm a victim. This is, whether you want to admit it or not, this is Taylor Swift's MO. So she is screwed. She's up first. There are people to depose, and we are going to be able to read that deposition, you know, because there's nothing proprietary there. We don't need her accounts.
Just imagine waking up one morning and finding out your so-called best friend is out there telling the world you're her personal legal bodyguard, and you didn't even sign up for the job. And oh, it gets worse, because Blake Lively's little scheme wasn't just about texts. She literally trapped Taylor into a setup at her penthouse. There was a critical meeting at Blake and Ryanreynolds' place where Justinbaldoni was invited. Taylor was also invited separately, but Blake didn't bother to mention that Baldoni would be there. Coincidence? Absolutely not.
Are clearly lying to the public and trying to signal to Justin Baldoni's team, like, look, we have nothing to do with this. We're not friends with her anymore. We don't even like her. We don't even know her. We can't believe she said this. They were running articles.
Taylor walks in, completely clueless, and boom, there's Baldoni, wrapping up a 2-hour argument with Blake. Taylor was literally thrown into the middle of it. Now, why would Blake do that? Simple. So later she could claim Taylor Swift met with Baldoni and knows exactly what went down. She literally manufactured a moment where Taylor and Baldoni were in the same room just so she could pretend Taylor had firsthand knowledge of everything.
Abused. They claimed to TMZ in one article that she only met Justin once and it was briefly, and essentially she was startled because the meeting was supposed to be over at Blake's apartment and then she arrived.
And guess what? Taylor barely even spoke to Baldoni. TMZ sources say all she did was mention she was excited for the movie because he was her friend's boss, and that was it. That's all. But Blake? Oh, she twisted it into Taylor Swift supports my case and ran with it.
Baldoni was there, and then they painted this narrative like Taylor was just really nice, and because she thought this is Blake's boss, and she was being really kind, had a brief discussion and never spoke to him.
At this point, Taylor was done. She realized she had been played. Blake had used her, name-dropped her, and now Taylor's name was legally entangled in a lawsuit she had nothing to do with. Then came the nuclear bombshell. March 2nd, 2025, the Daily Mail breaks the story that Baldoni's legal team is officially planning to subpoena Taylor Swift.
Lively was using her name, so I'm going to jog your memory just so you understand how many points she's involved in, how many times she could be subject to having to answer questions.
Yes, a subpoena. Taylor was about to be dragged into court and forced to testify under oath. And this wasn't just some casual deposition. This was a full-on legal grilling where she would have to answer questions about Blake, Baldoni, and whatever shady conversations they'd had behind the scenes.
All mocking him in a skit. So the clip that you are about to watch right now is Justin Baldoni having arrived extremely early because one of the extra people came out and said, you know what, it was weird because usually at these events, the actors of the film are the last to arrive on the red carpet, and we did notice that it was weird that he was like first to arrive.
Now, let's be honest. This is Taylor Swift's worst PR nightmare. She spent years building an image as a strategic, calculated, but ultimately untouchable public figure, and now she was about to be legally roped into some Hollywood drama that wasn't even hers. And it wasn't just her. Baldoni's subpoena list was stacked. Jenny Slyen and Isabella Ferrer, co-stars. It ends with us senior executives at WME and Sony Studios, and now Taylor Swift.
This could present a version of Taylor that the public does not know.
Hollywood lawyers started panicking because this was bad for everyone involved. If Taylor actually got subpoenaed and had to answer questions under oath, there was no PR team, no catchy song lyrics, and no social media damage control that could save her. It would be straight facts, recorded with legal consequences if she didn't tell the truth.
Is she being used, or are people starting to jump into lifeboats because Ryan and Blake's Titanic, you know, the ship that not even God could sink, is sinking? It's going.
This was a disaster waiting to happen. If Taylor testified, she could confirm that Blake was lying, which would instantly sink Blake's lawsuit, expose whatever Ryan Reynolds was up to behind the scenes, because let's be real, he was just as involved in this mess, and potentially get Taylor caught in a lie herself, which would shatter her carefully curated public image.
And because it's shocking, Taylor Swift feels used. She always feels used, and she wants nothing to do with the Justin Baldoni situation.
And for what? For what? Blake's petty little revenge lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, a guy she didn't like because he wouldn't let her rewrite an entire movie. At this point, Hollywood insiders realized this wasn't just about Taylor Swift versus Blake Lively. This was about Blake's entire career imploding in real time.
Conscious of her own image and hates that she was even mentioned. She was referred to as some kind of pet or possession.
She thought she could manipulate the press, use Taylor's name, and walk away untouched. But instead, she triggered a nuclear PR disaster that was swallowing everyone around her. And let's not forget, Taylor was never going to let this slide. She's built an empire by taking down anyone who messes with her. Blake Lively thought she could play the game, but Taylor Swift invented it, and now, the fallout is just beginning.
Also think that Blake's "I'm Khaleesi and like her, I happen to have dragons" text to Justin was uncool and unnecessary because she was essentially used as an intimidation tactic. She was referred to as some kind of pet or possession. Taylor shouldn't even be involved in this at all.
But Taylor does not play like that, and now the PR slapback is in full motion. Because if there's one thing Taylor Swift knows how to do, it's control a narrative, and Blake? She's about to get the career-ending reality check of a lifetime. Let's start with the insane revelation from March 2025. Blake has been using Taylor's name as Hollywood currency for years. Sources leaked to TMZ that this isn't even new. Blake has routinely thrown Taylor's name around behind the scenes to make herself seem more powerful than she actually is.
Taylor Swift feels like she was used by Blake Lively in her war with Justin Baldoni. She resents Blake calling her one of her dragons and leverage.
Taylor gets invited somewhere, and Blake just happens to be there. Taylor backs a brand, and Blake jumps on the same trend. Taylor starts dating someone famous, and Blake finds a way to insert herself into the conversation. And the absolute worst part? She was telling people that Taylor personally got them jobs in Hollywood when Taylor didn't even know about it.
Step back from her friendship with Blake Lively after feeling like she was used as an intimidation tactic by the actress in a lawsuit that she never wanted to be embroiled in.
The Isabella Ferrer disaster. Blake straight up told Isabella Ferrer that Taylor Swift cast her in It Ends With Us, which, let's be clear, never happened. But Ferrer fully believed it and even told reporters on the red carpet that Taylor played a role in her casting. Now imagine Taylor seeing that headline, sitting there thinking, what in the actual hell? She had zero involvement in the casting, but Blake lied so convincingly that Ferrer genuinely thought it was true.
Taylor Swift is no longer talking to Blake Lively.
Taylor was furious. This wasn't just a random name drop. Blake literally used Taylor's influence to make herself seem like she had Hollywood power she didn't actually possess. And worst of all, she used it to manipulate a young actress who had no idea she was being played.
Lively's going to lose this, okay? So we're going to take a lifeboat now and say that we don't want to deal with this. She could still, by the way, be friends with Blake Lively in the background. If Tree is as savvy as I think she is, she's probably going to say to Taylor, pretend to be shocked.
But wait, here comes the soundtrack controversy. Taylor was originally set to have a song featured in It Ends With Us, but at some point, that deal went completely sideways.
And why?
Rumors started swirling that Taylor had someone fired over the soundtrack choices. Did she? Nobody knows. But what's important is that Taylor stayed completely silent on the issue. She could have easily denied it, released a statement saying, "Hey, I had nothing to do with this," but she didn't. That silence spoke volumes. Taylor wanted nothing to do with Blake's disaster of a movie, and the fact that her name was even remotely attached was an inconvenience, so she let the rumors fly and distanced herself completely.
Shouldn't even be involved in this at all. She was only going over to visit Blake and Ryan with the understanding that the meeting would be over.
And this was the final nail in the coffin. The friendship was officially dead. Taylor cut Blake off entirely, and she wasn't subtle about it either. First, the Instagram interaction stopped. No more heart emojis, no more supportive comments, no more Blake is my bestie energy. Then Blake was noticeably absent from Taylor's events. No more hanging out in NYC, no more paparazzi photos of them giggling at brunch. Swifties noticed immediately. Taylor hadn't been seen with Blake since January 2020, aka right when Blake filed her lawsuit. If that's not a clear-cut breakup, I don't know what is.
Special thanks to Taylor Swift on the credits of It Ends With Us. We had a lot of question marks about why that was. And again, just her particular flavor and style.
And let's talk about the biggest public humiliation of them all, the Super Bowl snub of 2025. Taylor Swift showed up with Travis Kelce, enjoying VIP front row access to the biggest event of the year. And guess who wasn't there? Blake Lively. Last year, in 2024, Blake was right there with Taylor at the Super Bowl, living her best clout-chasing life. But this year, nowhere to be seen. And let's be honest, Taylor doesn't do coincidences.
She saw Taylor to be like this doppelganger of her. But the difference is that Taylor is more subtle. This is literally a direct quote. The main difference between them is that Taylor is extremely intentional about who she lets into her circle.
When she supports someone, she does it loudly, and when she wants to distance herself, she does it strategically. This wasn't just a friend missing a game. This was a statement. Taylor was telling the world, I am not associated with Blake Lively anymore, and you know what's even crazier? Ryan Reynolds started distancing himself too.
Must have read Blake Lively's edit. So why is she backing out here? Very carefully worded back out, because she's smart. Okay? Taylor Swift is very smart. She is.
Ryan, who had been running his mouth in interviews about how Blake was handling things, suddenly stopped saying a damn thing. He was always her biggest public defender, but now silence. Could it be that he's realizing the ship is sinking, that Blake played her cards wrong, and now they're both paying the price? Because let's be honest, Blake Lively's career is taking hit after hit, and Ryan is way too calculated to go down with her.
Taylor Swift has plugs, especially at the Daily Mail, when she wants to get a narrative out. The person that works for her is this woman named Tree, and Tree is allegedly vicious. She will protect Taylor Swift's reputation by any means necessary.
But here's the best part. Taylor isn't even doing anything openly. She's not tweeting, not posting, not commenting. Yet behind the scenes, she's letting Blake burn. Taylor's PR team has been slowly, but surely leaking story after story to the press, making Blake look worse by the day. And the best part? Taylor isn't getting her hands dirty. She's not saying a word herself. She's letting the media do all the work for her.
Mean girl bully! If this is real, Blake Lively, you deserve all of this! This is a reckoning she needs to hear. This isn't bullying. This isn't harassment. This is accountability.
And Swifties are eating it up. The internet has turned on Blake Lively hard, and there's one major reason: Taylor's deafening silence. This is classic Taylor strategy. Never directly engage in drama. Let the music and PR do the talking. When Kanye and Kim came for her, she dropped Reputation. When Scooter Braun tried to screw her over, she re-recorded her entire discography and made him irrelevant. And now she's letting Blake's own mess destroy her. No defense, no counterarguments, just silence. And that silence is hitting Blake harder than any public call-out ever could.
Swift is very smart. She is media savvy.
And let's talk about what's coming next, because rumors are flying that Taylor's next album is going to have diss tracks aimed straight at Blake. Think about it. Taylor always addresses betrayals through her music. She exposed Joe Jonas, John Mayer, Jake Gyllenhaal, Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, Scooter Braun. You really think she's going to let Blake Lively get away with this? Not a chance.
Taylor Swift has decided to rain on her parade. Now, this will say it's from a...
Fans are already speculating that this will be Reputation 2.0, a full scorched earth era where Taylor lays everything out in the most poetic, brutal way possible. And let's be honest, Blake deserves it. She used Taylor, manipulated her, dragged her into drama that wasn't hers, and now she's paying the price. Meanwhile, Taylor? She's watching from the sidelines, sipping tea, and letting it all unfold.
Snake emojis. Taylor hates snakes. Kim Kardashian, all these people who manipulate her, she doesn't want that in her life. People who are using her. She feels like she was leveraging her name. As we reported, there was a critical meeting at Blake and Ryan's penthouse with Justin to discuss a scene that Blake had rewritten for It Ends With Us.
So Ryan Reynolds, Mr. Cool, Mr. Funny Guy, Mr. I'm a PR genius who can do no wrong. Yeah, well, not anymore. Because let's be honest, he's just as deep in this mess as Blake Lively. And the worst part? He probably thought he was untouchable, but now his name is all over Baldoni's counter lawsuit, and the internet is catching on fast. This man wasn't just supporting his wife. He was actively involved in trying to take down Justinbaldoni, like some Hollywood mob boss. And now his entire PR strategy is crumbling right before his eyes. Intoro 36. And here's the real kicker. Did Ryan also use Taylor's name behind the scenes? Oh, you better believe he did. Sources suggest that Ryan actually told Baldoni that Taylor Swift was on their side. Imagine that. Ryan, who knew damn well that Taylor had no clue what was going on, was out here acting like she was some kind of secret weapon backing him and Blake up.
Her follow-up text, which reads like a psycho, obviously, I'm Khaleesi, these are my dragons. She said it because you did something.
And the moment Taylor found out, livid, absolutely furious. Because this wasn't just Blake using her name. This was Ryan doing it too. Now Taylor wasn't just betrayed by Blake. She was betrayed by both of them. And the best part? Ryan's been eerily silent lately. In Toro, 38. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Ryan's public support for Blake has noticeably slowed down. At first, he was loudly defending her, making sure the world knew his wife was the real victim in all of this. But suddenly crickets. The man who built his entire career on being an attention-loving PR mastermind is now shutting up. That's not a coincidence.
A-list pals are struggling to move on from the fallout, with the Bad Blood singer 35 no longer communicating with Lively 37, according to insiders. Daily Mail previously reported that she had taken a step back from the Gossip Girl.
Ryan is realizing he messed up badly. His entire brand is built on being funny, charming, and scandal-free. But now he's right in the middle of one of the messiest Hollywood feuds of the decade. And let's be honest, he's not about to go down with Blake if he can help it.
Snake emojis. Taylor hates snakes. Kim Kardashian, all these people who manipulate her. She doesn't want that in her life. People who are using her. She feels like she was leveraging her name. As we reported, there was a critical meeting at Blake and Ryan's penthouse with Justin to discuss a scene that Blake had rewritten for it.
So, what's next? Well, here's where things get really, really bad for everyone, because let's not forget the biggest ticking time bomb of all. Taylor Swift might actually get subpoenaed. And if that happens, oh, it's over for Blake and Ryan. Over. Let's break it down. If Taylor actually gets called to testify under oath, there's no more PR spin, no carefully curated narrative, no music lyrics to hint at what's really going on. It's just her in court, answering hard questions.
What do you mean you showed up and the meeting was still going on? What does that mean? What does that mean? I showed up and the meeting was still going on. So what are you being victimized by? If I show up at my friend's house and there's a meeting going on and I didn't know it was still going to go on, I don't need to insert myself in that.
And that is every celebrity's worst nightmare. If she testifies, 3 things could happen. She could confirm that Blake was lying, Blake's entire lawsuit would collapse instantly, and she would go down as one of the most manipulative frauds in Hollywood history. She could expose Ryan's shady involvement, the leaked texts, the allegations about him orchestrating PR attacks. All of that would be put under a microscope, and suddenly Ryan wouldn't just be known as Deadpool. He'd be known as Hollywood's biggest snake. And she could get caught in a lie herself because, let's be real, nobody wants to testify under oath. It's a legal minefield, and one wrong statement could blow everything up.
How's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Now you're poking fun at it. So now it's just a big joke? This whole thing's a joke? This is absolute cringeworthy, and they shouldn't be.
And guess what? Hollywood lawyers are already speculating about what Taylor's next move will be. Some experts think that if Taylor actually gets subpoenaed, she might just settle out of court to avoid the embarrassment and public scrutiny. But then comes the real question. Would Taylor actually flip on Blake to save herself? Honestly, she just might.
Reynolds and with Blake Lively. And for that reason, my friend, I am sorry, but you have to be subpoenaed. I'm sorry. You're coming to court. I am subpoenaing Taylor Swift in this lawsuit that I had nothing to do with, but I'm telling you right now, Justinbaldoni, subpoena her, because she's got something to do with this, okay? I'm not saying how much she has to do with this, but I'm saying that Reddit post, it's giving me like...
Because at this point, Taylor owes Blake nothing. Blake used her, lied about her, and dragged her into a legal disaster. If Taylor can throw Blake under the bus to protect her own career, why wouldn't she? And that brings us to the final act of this entire mess, Blake Lively's total and complete downfall. Blake thought she was playing the game, but she played herself. She thought she could manipulate the media, use Taylor, and walk away untouched. But now, she's getting exactly what she deserves.
Absolutely nothing to him, then she would have responded and said, what are you talking about? She was just coming into the house. Like, well, that wasn't to peer pressure you. Instead, she replies and says, oh, I got a few dragons, so I think Taylor's lying about that. So the real question is, why is Taylor Swift lying about that little exchange? And the answer is very simple. She does not want to get deposed, okay? A deposition, legal deposition, is not a song. It is not an album. You don't get to drop Taylor's version of events. You are under oath, and you will be compelled to tell the truth. And Taylor cannot then call in a marketing guru to spin things to make her look innocent if she was in fact more involved in this.
The internet has fully turned against her. What started as a brave actress fighting a toxic co-star has now morphed into Blake Lively being labeled Hollywood's biggest manipulator. And the best part? Ryan Reynolds is next. Let's be honest, Blake's career is already burning, but Ryan? He still has time to save himself. And you know what? He probably will. He'll likely find a way to spin this, distance himself from Blake, and throw her under the bus, just like she did to Taylor. And that will be Blake's final humiliation.
Reckoning she needs to hear. This isn't bullying. This isn't harassment. This is accountability, girl.
She thought she could take down Baldoni. Instead, she took down herself. She thought she could use Taylor. Instead, Taylor wiped her hands clean and let her drown. She thought Ryan would stand by her. Instead, he's probably drafting his escape plan as we speak. And the Blake Lively redemption tour? Dead before it even started. Taylor is moving on, Blake is burning, and as Swifties say, there will be no explanation, there will just be reputation. Make sure to subscribe because this drama is far from over and trust me, you do not want to miss what's next.